Hey, this is Steve with Best Bid. Thanks for having enough interest in the Best Bid Next Generation to watch this video. I've tried to place timestamps in certain parts of the video so that in the future that you can go back and watch a portion of the video that you want to refresh on. If you're interested in the plans itself, you can email me and I'll send them to you so you can follow along with the video. It'll be the same plans that we used in the instructions here. I want to make it clear that this is a training tool. I know that there are many mistakes in it. I could make a lot of excuses why they're there, but honestly, I just don't make good videos. But I don't know anyone else that volunteered to do it, so I'm stuck with the task. And this video is going to give you a lot of information on how to use the software and what the buttons do. It's going to also give a novice estimator a good guide to go by when starting to estimate. I understand that there's a lot of ways to attack an estimate. Not everyone thinks the same. There are many different ways to do the same function, but I do believe that the Best Bid Next Generation is flexible enough to handle any way that you estimate. Thanks for watching this video, and I do hope you learned something. Have a blessed day. Okay, so we're going to start an estimate from scratch. So you just select the new project. You enter the name. I'm going to do this job here. I'm going to go real slow so you completely understand all the steps. All right, so this is the job we're going to do. I enter the name. That's really all we have to do is hit OK. We're going to open up to the control panel. Okay, so the reason I'm creating this video is I get a lot of people that cannot figure out how to get started. Well, obviously the best way to get started is not to try to do a plan right off the bat. The best way to get started is to learn how the software works. Go through the quick start, watch the videos in our help library, watch the YouTube videos we've already created, creating an estimate from start to finish. But unfortunately, most people don't want to do that. So this would be for you. Grab you a cup of coffee, soda pop, or whatever you need. It's going to be a long video, but we're going to go through it. So we just opened up the software and we have the name of the job. You want to actually open the PDF of the drawing and glance through it and see which pages are valuable to you, because you do not want to upload all of the sheets, just the electrical sheets. So I'm going to glance through here. These are plumbing sheets, mechanical sheets. I do see there's going to be 2 units on the roof. All right, so here is our electrical notes. So E00 and E101, E201. So there's 3 sheets that we need. So I'll keep that in mind. So now we want to import that drawing. So we're going to go to Takeoff, Drawing Files, from PDF File, and we're going to select that drawing by clicking right here, Select PDF File. That's step 1. So we hit Open once we highlight it. And then I'm going to go to Import Following Pages. There's other ways to do it, but I'm going to do this and hit Browse Pages. this will load the pages of the software. And I already know I only need 3 pages. So I'll use this one. So I'm going to right click and hit select page. Make sure that you see the number go down below. I need this one. And this one's notes. So I need this one. So here's the 3 pages, 7, 8, 9 that I need. Hit OK. Yes, I'm sure. Now, I'm going to rename these pages where I know exactly what they are. Now, this is not that valuable for a job this small, but this is the same steps that you would use if this was a large job and you had a lot of pages. So we're going to rename this. So this is going to be power and lighting. And this one's going to be grounding. So now we have these renamed, we have them imported. You can hold the control key and use your roller mouse to enlarge the drawing if you need to see it. We can see that it's a 400 amp. We can go to create takeoff, create a new takeoff. The name's already in place. So we hit OK. And now from select drawings, we can select the drawings that we will be using. So select power and lighting. This is a panel, and I like to go through the panel schedule to see what we're looking at. So I look for anything that's a 2-pole or 3-pole breaker. So we're going to have a washer, dryer, rooftop unit, rooftop heater, 2 rooftop units, 2 rooftop heaters, and the rest are going to be simple single pole outlets. So we now go to our lighting fixture schedule. First thing you're going to want to do is create a group. So select a new group. We're going to say lighting. And we're going to count these tags. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to add 12 spots. And then they're calling them marks. We're calling them tags. You just transfer these over. Okay, if you're following along with me, you want to highlight the first cell, and then to move to the next one, you want to use your arrow keys on your keyboard. Makes it much quicker. You can just move through them like that. So if you're following along with me, you now have all your tags entered. So now we're going to go to the lighting plan. And we're simply going to count these light fixtures by selecting the tag A start counting, and then we're going to click on the A fixtures. You can go to edit the tag, and you, from the font size, you can make the tag be larger or smaller. So 15 looks like a good size to me. So I'll go ahead and edit the next one as well. This is just a personal preference. You don't have to do this, but it's going to automatically change colors with each tag. I'm going to slowly count them. I'm not in a hurry whatsoever at all. I just want you to be comfortable with how to do this process. So I'm going to change this again. So I missed the tag CE, so I'll simply add it at the bottom. I'm going to keep it square. So it's pretty easy to understand this part of it. I'm going really slow. I could have already had this counted a long time ago. I'm just kind of just trying to talk to you as we go. Where you place the tag doesn't matter. I'm going to edit those as well. So I'm hoping that you're following along and counting these as I'm counting them. You don't have to change these tags. I'm just changing them so they'll be a little smaller. And I don't move a screen until I've completely counted it. I need to go down some, but I'm going to just go through this before I move. So this G is round. You don't have to, a count's a count, but just for this example, I'm showing you. And if you miss something, you can always come back and get it. Going really slow. I hope you're keeping up with me, doing the same steps I'm making. Okay, so this should be all the light fixtures. We can go back and just double check. Okay, we're going to say that those are good. Now, everybody always asks, what if I counted and I made a mistake? So you click the mark to delete, click the mistake, delete the mark. Yes, it removes it. So now you have all the light fixtures counted. I'll select Hide All. You want to do that before you move the page. This particular drawing, the power is on the same page, so it's not necessary to do that. But normally you would select Hide All. I'm going to put them back into play as we count the switches. So I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call this Switches and create a tag, and I enter these exactly as they are. So that's Switch OS. And I'm going to also reduce these. Again, this is a step you do not have to do. Start counting. This one will just be a regular S. This will be a switch and then an occupancy sensor. Switch three-way, switch, switch. So it's the same repetition over and over. We have a switch, switch three-way. If you want to turn the switch like the direction, you can right click and turn it, turn the symbol. And then we have a switch and a switch three-way and switch three-way. I'm going to right click this to turn it the opposite way. Okay, if you're following with me, we should have the light fixtures counted. And we should have the switches counted. So it looks like we do. So the next step is to just take a break and find our power page. And then we're going to review the power page to see if there's anything abnormal. So these look like duplex outlets, switch. I'm going to go ahead and count that switch while we're here counting switches. It's not that rare for it to be there. So just to make sure that these are quads as they normally would be, I'm going to go to the note page. You see how everything bleeds over? You can hide all and they will go away. So a duplex, quad. So it normally is a quad, but just make sure it's quad. The LFB is a floor box. Notice in our disconnects, the non-fuse does not have a line, which is different on just about every job. Okay, so we would go back to our power and lighting. We would get ready to count our receptacles. So I created a group called receptacles. I used D for duplex, Q for quad, FB for floor box. You could name those anything that you wanted to. Now, just for this demonstration, I'm going to increase the size because normally you're not dealing with the entire screen. You're only seeing portions of a job. We'll say like this. So you click just the same thing, start counting. You just want to count I'm going to use G for GFI. I'm going to edit it to round. So the idea is to count everything in your view, no matter how large or small the view. Now you can change or you don't have to change the size or the shape, but that's just if you wanted to. So now we have everything in this one view counted. So you would go down to the next view. So this one's going to be a drawer. And if I remember, there was a water heater. So that's going to be a disconnect. That's not going to be receptacle. So I don't need to count it at this point. Kind of jumping around a little bit, but I think you get the idea. So I scrolled up and down and I had everything in there that we're counting. Scroll over and get another view. This is just practice. All right, so we'll go through again, looking for something that we missed. We'll scroll over another view. Okay, so now we're going to create a group. We're going to do data. Since it's not on here, we'll select custom. We'll call these stub-ups. DS for a data stub. So now we'll go through and we'll just count these data stubs. And I'm making this take way longer than it has to, but just want you to follow with me to get the hang and the idea of the movement up and down through the screen. Now, while we're talking about that, you can hold the control key and you can get, with your roller mouse, you can go in and out. And if you hold the shift key, you'll go left and right. All right, so I'm going to create a new group. I'll call it TV. There's probably going to be a bracket. There's probably going to be some different raceways with it. So we're getting used to just moving from left and right. I'm going to call these thermostats data stubs because this is going to be conduit through the roof. Now I'm going to create a group called gear. So we're going to call this LA1 for this panel. We're going to have, I know the water heater was a 30 amp 2-pole. It's non-fusible. And we have a motor rated switch. Just follow along with me. I'm going real slow where you can keep up. Now I see in the background the 4 disconnects. And they were for the rooftop unit 1 and 2 and the heater 1 and 2. And they were both 60 amp. I do not remember if it was single phase or 3-phase, so it's better to check. Actually, it's on this page. Remove that mistake I made. Three-pole. So I'm going to mark this 60 amp 3-pole. They're non-fusible. NEMA 3R. Save and close. Go to counts. So now I believe we have everything on this page counted. Let's just glance back through. Let's just say, since we don't know, that this vent band needs to be accounted for. It's better to account for it than to leave it missing. We probably don't have to furnish it, but we do have to labor it. So we'll put exhaust fan, exhaust fan. So now you just want to go and look through and make sure there's nothing on the counts that we have not accounted for. My goal is to not be 100%. My goal is to show you the steps if this was a 10 times larger job. So I think we have all the counts done. So you're going to practice this a few times till you get to this stage without any hiccups at all. So have a blessed day and learn this before going to the second video. So now that you have your counting down, we're going to move over to measures. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start with the lighting page, and it's a good practice just to kind of glance at the panel schedule. And so we're going to have 29, 30, 31, 32. Way too many circuits for this, but so there's 4 circuits. So when you're starting off, a good tip is to go ahead and mark your home runs. So I'm going to select a new group. I'm going to mark this notes. Has nothing at all to do with the estimate at all. It's just for your knowledge. So we had 29. So I'm going to mark these 29, 30, 31, and 32. So let's figure this out. We'll start counting 29. So this is going to be our home run for circuit 29. It's a crazy sweet 3-way switching for these. So I'm going to mark 29 here. And I need circuit 29 here because that's on a light itself. So I'm going to move to 30 and try to find 30. Okay, so 30's here. It's 3-way for A. So these fixtures are together, okay? 31. And 32. This is 32. Okay, so all that does is give you an idea where we're going to run home runs to. So now that we're ready to measure, we're going to go to measures. Now you can also use conduit and wire. In this video, we're going to use measures, and I'll show you why. I'm doing this as if this was a big job. I open the library. I would bring in all of my selections that's on the branch circuit page. Hold the shift key and enter and select these. These are already set up. So I'm going to start off by setting a scale. What I like to do is I like to open the view. We're going to set the scale. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6. We'll say we'll go 8 foot. We'll call this 8 foot. Then I check that measurement. 2, 4, 6, 8. This should be real close to 8 foot. Okay, so I'm looking at the drawing and I'm going to catch circuit 31 and 30 together and 32 and 29 together. So that makes the most sense. So I need a 5 conductor run, 2 hots, 2 neutrals, and a ground. So I'm going to select measure. We'll go from panel L1 to 31 and from L1 to 32. Now I have this measurement. I'm going to add the up and down lengths, and I'm going to click and it should add 10 foot, and it did. That's for circuit 31. I'm going to click again, and that's for circuit 32. That's to go down to the panel. So now all I need to do is take a 3-wire to here and a 3-wire to here. Now basically my home runs are caught. So you can see that these top line of lights have emergency circuits, so they're going to be a combination in 3 and 4 wire. 4 wire for the unswitched hot. So we will carry this 4 wire down to the last one of these we need to, and we'll carry it down to the last one of these. Then we'll go back to our 3 wire and carry it on down, and then we'll carry it down to the switch for both switches. Now, if you'll notice, I'm just dealing with the horizontal runs. We'll deal with the vertical part of this on the estimating side. Now we're dealing with this section of light fixtures, and they're on a 3-way switch down to switch A. So let's just take care of that right off the bat. That's going to be a 3-wire, and we'll go from a 3-way switch through the hot box down to switch A. So that's taken care of. Now we need to go back to our 4-wire conductor, and we're going to run through to this side, and we'll run through to this side. That's carrying our constant hot. So now those are taken care of, the switch is taken care of, and we'll move on to the next. So carrying on, follow on with me. We're going to catch a 3-wire from this point to the A fixture and over to the G, and then down to the switch. We're going to carry a hot down to this point, and that's going to pretend like a junction box, and then we're going to go down to this switch, and then we need a 4-wire for these fixtures here. So that takes care of that. Okay, so proceeding on, we're going to go back to the 3-wire. We're going to run from this switch leg to these 2 fixtures. We're going to run from the emergency light here because we only need 3 wires. We're going to run from here to here, and then we'll run here back to here. That's going to take care of that. Now we're going to run power to run it to this box here to catch these 29, and then we're going to run it to this switch, catch this E fixture. We'll have to run it from this switch to catch this E fixture. Now we're going to take this 3-way switch. We'll run it through the power box into switch B as it says. Now we need to go back to the 4-wire to catch these emergency lights. We need to take 4-wire through these to catch this switch here. This light fixture there, I'm sorry, that has emergency ballast. So that takes care of that, and then we're going to go back to the 3-wire to run across these, and that should be pretty close. We're going to run a 3-wire to finish this circuit here, and then we're going to review our runs, but I think we have it pretty close. Follow along with this and you will see if you get close to the same measurements that I have, at least the same idea, and we'll proceed on. So just a quick check. We need to make sure that we have a yellow line, which is going to be our 4-wire to go into all the E fixtures, and I believe we do. It's not that big a deal if we missed one, but I think we have it all. Let's see, probably need to run a wire here, pretend like that's a junction box. All right, we have a circuit here for a sign. We're going to hit the up and down button to give us 10 foot down to the panel there, and that is all the measurements that we have for the lighting. So you can go back over. It doesn't have to be pretty or doesn't have to be perfect, or you could do it a little bit different than I did. There is another thing that I would personally do is so I would add some number 12. So I'm going to add some number 12 times 3 to HHN to have some extra wire to make up these fixtures. So I'd go to measure, and this is just extra wire for makeup. May be a little overkill, but I'd rather have it than not have it. And you can make yours be nicer looking than mine, but I'm just showing you technique more than accuracy. If you don't have strips, this part's not really necessary. And that'll be that. And then we'll move on to measuring our power. So here's a help file for new users. And eventually you won't need to do this, but I created some more notes and I laid this out how we're going to wire it. So for example, L1A 789. So I'll lay that note there that I know that's a home run for 789. 10, 11, 12. So this one's going to be 13. Don't know what that is in there. 13, 14, and 26. 15, 17, 18. 16, 20, 21. 16, 20, 21. 22, 23, 27. 24, 25. Water heater. Dryer. Rooftop unit 1. Rooftop unit 2. The heater for 1. The heater for 2. L14. And LA1, 2, and 3. That is just a test note. So I now laid our home runs out, and all of them but this one is going to be a 3/4 with 7 number 12s, 3 hots, 3 neutrals, and a ground. So I like to break out my lighting separate from my power, and I brought all these in as if it was a new job or a bigger job, knowing I wasn't going to be using but a few. So I put an L here to let me know that these are lighting, and when I got to finish the lighting, I opened the library and imported them again with power. So the first thing we're going to do is catch our home runs. This is 3/4, 7 number 12s, 3 hots, 3 neutrals, and a ground. So we'll go from the panel and we'll create 1 home run, 2 home runs, 3 home runs, 4 home runs, 5, 6 home runs, 7 home runs, and then now I'm going to hit the up and down. I'm going to click 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to close that, and that should be my home runs. Or it's going to be the ones with the catching 3 circuits. So remember that we're only doing the conduit runs that are horizontal. The vertical runs are going to be caught on the estimating side. So I'm going to go to 1/2 inch with 3 number 12s on the power. And I'm going to catch this lone home run down here. All right, and then so this one is catching 7, 8, and 9. So I'm just putting a little extra in there, just to have a little fluff. This one's 10, 11, 12. So this time I'm going to go to 5 and catch this one, and then back to 3 to catch all the way down to the end. And then so we're going to go back to the 5 again, and this one's going to catch 15 is there, and the 17, and then the 18 we go back to 3, and then we'll go to 5 again to catch. We're catching then we'll go to 3, and we'll go to 5 again, and we'll catch this first group. Then we go to 3. We go to okay, so now we're down to 25 and 19. I'm going to carry just a ½ inch over to 19 by itself, and a ½ inch to 5 and 24. All right, so this should be a start of catching all these. Now we do need one additional one. And that's going to be 3/4 PVC with 3 number 12s. And this is going to be for the floor boxes. Okay, so here we're going to go back and review what we have here before we catch the rooftop units and such. So we're going to continue measuring. We're going to go to our rooftop units. We're going to go from the panel 1, we're going to do 2, we're going to do 3, and then we're going to do 4. And we're going to go up and down and click 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I like to go 4 up at the roof, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that takes care of that. Go to our water heater. I'll add the up and down, click it twice, take it off, and then we'll go to our dryer. Up and down, click twice, one for each end, take that off. Go to round up on everything that's here. Even the ones we're not using. Okay, so now we have pretty much everything taken care of. We definitely have enough. So the idea of this lesson is not to be perfect and not to run everything exactly as you would, but to show you the steps that you should take to produce the estimate. You may not want to catch 3 home runs in a circuit. I prefer to do that. Some people do 4. Some people don't do it at all. But I like to catch 3 home runs per circuit whenever I can. That's 3 hots, 3 neutrals, and a ground. That's 7 wires. When you leave there to catch 2 more circuits, it'll be 5 wires. And when you leave there for the last one, it'll be 3 wires. So all that should make pretty good sense. This is a small job. I've taken really slow to go with it just to kind of give you an idea. So you don't necessarily have to quibble so much about your lines being perfect or being straight. When you round it up and you do a little extra fluff here and there, you're going to have plenty enough to be just right. Now, going down from these horizontal runs, vertically, we're going to go down 10 foot for each item, but we're going to do that on the estimating side of the page to make it easier. You could do it here, but I find it easier to do on the estimating side. So from this point, you should be able to import your drawings, do your counts, and do your measurements. You may do them differently than I just showed, but you should know how you want to do them and the technique that you want to do them. So have a blessed day, and we'll continue on in the next video. Okay, we're going to carry on and move our counts and measures over to the estimating side of the software. But first I want to show you, we're going to hide a lot of these marks. Okay, so what I want to show you is when we're on the lighting, especially the lighting, now is the time to adjust the labor to install the light if we think the fixture is going to be different than the default man hour. So when I looked at these before, these fixtures here, the B, E, and the B, they're suspended with cable, and they're going to be a little time consuming. So for BE, I'm going to put the man hours to 2 hours, and the B for 2 hours. I'm going to put the CE at 1, and the CE at 1. I think I can do the rest of them because they're not cable hung. So this is the time when you see something difficult, like this might be 30 foot in the air, or it may be over equipment, you would modify the hours to match the difficulty of the installation. If you leave it 0, it's going to pick up our default 3/4 of an hour per fixture, which works for most of the time. So now to finish accounts, we're going to go to Save and Close. After we're Save and Close, we're going to go back to the control panel and we're going to select Lighting. We're going to select Create a New. Now this is a test estimate I've been working on, but so disregard these. But we're going to say Create a New Lighting Assembly. We're going to make sure our name is right. We're going to make sure our group is right. Right now, it needs to be lights. Now, also, this is a test, so I have 2 lights, but I think the one we're working on is the second lights. Add multiple counts. This is the one we're working on. We're going to hold the Shift key and enter the last light fixture, highlighting them all blue. Hit OK. And now they're all entered into the estimate. We hit Save next and Assembly. From this assembly, This is telling us what we want each light fixture to do. We'll take fixture A. If we wanted to add a fixture whip, we could add a fixture whip. If we wanted a different raceway, we can choose one from the drop down. If we wanted a different size, we can choose it from the drop down. Different fitting. If we wanted a different strap, we have all these choices of straps. Different fixture count and a distance apart. Now here is where we need to stop and address how we want to attack the estimate. Right now, we have actually scaled the drawing. So we do not need this distance apart because we have it counted for when we did our scale. Now, if we were using an average, we could leave this to 20 or 15 or whatever number we want to. But since we actually scaled the drawing, I want to change this and I want to leave a little of this in there, but I'm going to say 0.5. This gives me a little fluff and will not cost me the job. This gives me just a little extra. Plus, it's going to let it pick up all the boxes and everything that you want. So there's a lot to address on this one page. You don't have to because it's already preset to most likely work for you. But you notice that our hours have changed to match what we did on the takeoff drawing. So you can go to fixture A, open options, and you can change all these options for that one fixture differently than the rest of the fixture. So you can look all this over. You can go to choices. You can choose a different box with a number of boxes per lights. You can change anything that you want. One thing that you might want to change, and you might want to change this in the default, is this tie wire here is for seismic bracing. A lot of places require you to tie the light up on each four corners. This can add some cost to the project. So if you don't have to do that, you may want to zero these out or zero them out permanently in the defaults. But you have a lot of choices to make on just this one fixture. If you make them, just hit save. So that's the beauty of having this screen. When you make all the choices you want, hit save, assembly details. You can review the results. You can see that the adjust for labor difficulty is set at 80%. That's good for most jobs. This is way up in the air on lift. You may adjust that. This is going to be your extended man hours for just this section of the work and the cost. So you're going to also send out a request for quote and get a quotation on the light fixtures. So you can add to, attention, and return to, and just create and print out this quotation for these lights as soon as possible. You can do this later in the job as well, but the quicker they get it, the better off you are. So now we're going to move on to switches. So you just would click switches, click new. We're going to open up the counts, change it to switches. And then you can see that we have 3 single pole switches, and we'll just put the number 3 here. Now I want to stop here and say that we have a distance apart at 20 foot. Now when we're doing our takeoff, I kept mentioning we were not going to worry about the horizontal, the vertical part of this run because we could take care of it here. So right here is where we're going to take care of the vertical run. You probably want to just change this to 10 foot to get it ample above the ceiling, and that's probably all you need. If the walls are higher or it's out in a warehouse, you may want to leave it 20 or even change it to whatever it's going to be. But this number here can account for your up and down runs. Anything that would be vertical, you can change this number to accommodate it without having to do your adding the extra up and down on the takeoff. So I want to stop and show you something that is valuable. I'm going to close this down for a minute. When you're doing your takeoff, if you'll create switches in this same order, switch, three-way, four-way, switch, 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 three-way, switch, 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 three-way. If you'll do those in those orders, you can also use this add multiple counts, and you can enter these choices here just by highlighting them and hitting OK, and the numbers will go in. In this particular job, I didn't do that because it was not switched with standard switching. So I'm going to open this counts back up, and we're going to have to custom create some of these switches, but I needed to show you how to do that anyway. So we're going to use an aux sensor. We have one of these. Normally, I would always put anything lighting control related, count it as a light. But I'm going to show you how to do it here. So we have one quantity of one. That's a single pole switch. I'm going to choose from the drop down an aux sensor. I'm going to choose a plate. And that's all I need to do. And I'm going to put 10 foot to get it above the ceiling. So I would save that. So now I need a switch and a switch occupancy sensor. So a quantity of one. This is going to be 2. So we would choose a switch. We would choose aux sensor. Now we have 2 switches. That's our 2 switches. We need a 2-gain switch plate. And we'll give it 10 foot to get us above the ceiling. That's how you build special switches. So this is a switch 3-way. We already have that right here. So you just would put a quantity of 1. This is a switch 3-way. We already have that. So we put a quantity of 1 here. And then we have a switch 3-way, one of those. So it would be a 3-pole. So we're going to do switch 3-way, 3-gain plate. And then we'll get 10 foot to get us above the ceiling. So that's all there is to it. So you just would hit save, assembly details to see your results. And that gets you all the way through your switches. Okay, so we're back to the control panel and we're ready to enter receptacles. So you just simply click receptacles, click new. Again, you're going to open your counts and view. Go to receptacles. As we stated before, if you have counted your receptacles as duplex, GFI, weatherproof GFI, and a quad in a row, you can open up your multiple counts and bring them in all at once. But I didn't, so we're going to enter 25 of these. And then I'm going to mark complete so I can keep up with it. We have 7 quads. We have 1 ground fault. Okay, that's a floor box, and then we have a dryer receptacle. So the dryer is not listed, so we'll create 1. as a single receptacle. Go down and find a drawer receptacle, and then a plate, and then I'm going to go 10 foot to get above the ceiling. And I'm going to change these others to 10 foot as well, since we actually scaled the drawing. You can use this as an average and only scale the home run, or you can just get above the ceiling. So now we need to enter 3 floor boxes. I would go to custom item, and since there wasn't a specific floor box, I'm just going to use a generic price of $250 and 3 man hours. And there were 3 of them. So now this takes us all the way through receptacles. So let's go back to the lights. I did not check these complete, but we've entered them. Switches, they're complete. Receptacles, this wasn't anything, so they're complete. Now we're going to go to stub ups. So we have 10 stub ups. You just would go to stub ups, new, enter 10, save, and you're finished. So let's count those off. Now we have TV. So we have 3 TVs. I'm going to go ahead and complete those 3 TVs. For TV, I'm going to, for this example, I'm going to go to a custom assembly, create new, item description. I'm going to say a TV bracket. And then let's say that we want to add some raceway. I'm going to say we want to add some 1.25" raceway to get above the ceiling for the cords. And you get the idea. You can add whatever you want. So I'm going to say 3 TV brackets and 30 foot of raceway above the ceiling. You can add what other items you want. Let's say that TV bracket's $150, and it's going to take an hour to install. And then let's put some miscellaneous. And this is just generic items. But now we have our TV. Now I want to change the name of this to TV. And hit save. And now it's in there. So we go back to the control panel and we'll carry on from there. Okay, so now we're down to our gear. So we're going to select gear and new. And we didn't really have a lot because this is a small job. I'm going to open up the counts and viewfinders, go to gear. Obviously misspelled gear, but that's okay. Now you can make this from time to time. You might want to change the size as needed, but under item description, this is all I would do. LA1. Now your supply house can go to the schedule and they can look and see exactly what LA1 is. And then I would man hour it. I'd put a quantity of 1. I'd put a quantity man hour of 16 hours. This would account for taking it out of the supply trailer, unboxing it, mounting it. If the back needs to be put in, put the back, put the breakers in, put the cover on, and terminating and labeling the panel. I would do all that in one motion. Now, if you're not comfortable installing your own man hours, you can go to add multiple items, gear for quoting, and then you can go through. Let me back up. Add multiple items, equipment, gear for quoting, and then you can pick out from these sections whatever that you would need. So this will give you your man hours automatically. So we'll say that that was a flush main breaker 12208 3-phase panel. We'll say it was 225. So it would bring it in like this, and that gives you your 16 man hours. So either way you want to do that, that's fine. There's every panel and disconnect that you would ever want. But when you get used to just manually do it, you're going to save a lot of time. So let's say now we have a 30 amp, 2-pole, non-fusible, 240 volt disconnect. And then we're going to say that's 1 hour. And we're going to mark these two complete. We're going to put in a motor rated switch. We're going to mark 2 hours. Half an hour and quantity of 2. Mark complete. And then we have one more disconnect. That's a 60 amp, 3-pole NEMA 3R, 240 volts. So we actually have 4 of those. So we're going to mark that complete. Now this is complete. You can send this off for quotation along with your lighting. That is one of the first things you want to get out. You notice on the gear that it's set at 100%. So you don't have to worry about derating on manually entered hours here. If you put in 16, it'll be 16. If you put in 1, it'll be 1. So that's how you would enter the gear. Depending on how long it is how long this list would be. You can bring it in from the database to get your man hours, or you can just enter your own man hours. So that takes care of the gear. So I went back and changed gear to be spelt right. It was driving me crazy. But the process is the same. So this is a great little tool. So you can open this up and go to lights, and you make sure, I didn't click that, make sure that we've entered the lights. You can go to switches. I'm confident I entered the switches. I'm good with the receptacles, stub ups, TV, and gear. So now I know that all of my counts are entered. So I'll go back to the control panel, and this is where we start entering the links of the runs that we calculated earlier. So you can go to branch circuits, new. If you notice, and you might not remember, it's been a while ago, when I did the takeoffs, I imported this entire list, so it'd be exactly the same. So I'm going to open up measurements. And I'm going to just enter these right here. These are exactly the same. 1/2 inch with 3, that's 1/2 inch with 3. So we're doing the lighting right now. So I would just enter 480 foot, 180, 80, and then I would have those complete. We have one more lighting that is just number 12. I'm going to leave it alone. There's nothing else in these other lighting, so I'll just mark those complete. I'm going to hit save, assembly details, and I'm going to change this to lighting branch. You don't have to break out your lighting from your power, but it will help you in the long run when you're going to track your job, knowing that you have it all broken out here. And then you can tell, what's what. So my lighting branch, I know how many material and how much man hours I have to install that part of the project. So I'll go back to control panel, hit branch circuit again, create new, open up my list, go to measures, I'm going to go down to the power, and so I have 210 foot. Then I want to just double check with this. So 5, I have 40 foot. And 7, $270. So now I've entered the power. In reality, I wouldn't have imported all of these because I know I wasn't going to use them, but just to show you how I wanted to import them all in because a lot of jobs you will use them. So now I have a 3/4 with 3 number 12s, 40 foot. So I can come down here and go, I'm going to modify this one right here. So this is 3/4 inch. I only want it to be 3 number 12s. And I'm changing that on purpose. So that was 40 foot. So if there's not one that matches it, you can change it 3/4, 3 number 12s, 40 foot. So the rest of these are home runs. So we're going to close this, we're going to save, and we're going to name this power branch. And that's power branch. Now again, if you want to or need to, you can go to any one of these assemblies, open up the options, and change how many boxes you have, how many straps you have, how many couplings, anything, wire nuts, blank plates, different kind of boxes. Everything can be changed per run right here. Hit save if you make changes. You can change a lot right here on this screen. You can change the strapping. So you wanted a standoff strap. Hit save. Everything is changed. So that gets us all the way through the branches. So now we're going to go to those last few home runs. We're going to go custom conduit and wire, new. We're going to open this up again. We're going to go all the way down to these last three. So we have a rooftop unit, 230 foot. It's 3/4 inch conduit, 3 number 6s, and 1 number 10. So if you wanted to put bushings, now actually those runs that we just did was for 4. So this would be 8. You would hit, and that's for the rooftop unit 1 and 2, and the heaters 1 and 2. You could have broke those out into individual runs, but this will work the same. So now we have that one, and so we'll finish this. We'll create a new one. We'll call this water heater. This water heater was 1/2 inch with 3 number 10s. So that's 1/2 inch, 3 number 10s. It's 30 foot. Let's add flex. And that's it. Now, with that being said, you have this raceway configuration. You can go in here and you can actually change everything about this, from the raceway type, connector type, strap type. You can change the distances, change the wire nuts, change the boxes, the distance apart for boxes, the number of 90s. You can overwrite the 90s to any 90 that's in the database, extra length of conductor per run and per flex. And you can have a second raceway, which is very valuable if you're running underground and you have, say this was PVC up here. You can also click for rigid 90s. If you wanted an extra raceway that's stubbed up rigid, you can click this and put rigid. So it's really handy in making those changes. So I'm going to keep it as it is. Assembly details. And we only have one more, and it's a dryer, 1/2 inch with 4 number 10s. It's on a receptacle, so it doesn't get flex. I forgot how far it was. So it's 60 foot. So dryer, 1/2 inch, 4 number 10, 60 foot. Save, I'll change the name to dryer. It's already there. I'm going to go back to control panel. I'm going to go to the assembly summary. Everything is here. So I'm going to go back to the control panel one more time. I'm going to open up other cost, and you would enter all your indirect cost here. You can add to this list But if you have plans and permits and anything that you have, you can add it right here. Now, I want to explain, if you were doing plans, if you wanted to put man hour per plans, you could say 2 hours for copying out. I put it on the poll basis. Sorry about that. Plans, not plans. Okay, so 2 hours to copy out the plans. The cost of the plans were $150. If there were 2 of these items, this 2 will copy the cost, and you will have an extended cost. So the math would be 2 times 150 would be 3, but the man hours is a total man hours. It is not multiplied by this. So if you wanted more than 2 hours, you would put it here. So I just want to make that clear. Your quantity will be times your cost only. The man hours should be entered total. And you would put anything you wanted. If you want something new, you can add it here. You can add anything into here you want. Put all your costs in here and then hit save and close. Go to the worksheet. The worksheet's going to show your other cost. That's going to be your cost. This is going to be your rough-in material. This is going to be your man hours. We haven't gave a rate yet. So we're going to do that right in the next section. So this gets you through your measurements. While we're on the worksheet, if you sent all your rough-in material out for quotation and it came back enough difference from your project total rough-in cost, you could put, say it was $6,500. You can enter that and hit overwrite material. That's going to overwrite your computer prices without having to change each one of them. Now, if you notice, we don't have labor, so let's talk about labor. You go to the labor button. You have allocated percentages. It has to equal 100. So most people would just put 100%. This has to be 100 at one rate of pay. Let's say it's $60 an hour. This is per man, not per crew. Per man. So this is saying that you're using 100% of your man hours, which is 321 times $60 per hour, and there's your labor cost. Hit save and close. Let's go back to the worksheet. Now your labor cost shows up. So what we don't have showing up right now is quotes. So let's address how to enter quotes. You go to quote tab, new, click the link button. You would choose what items you want to get prices for. And of course, you can add different ones. You would go to vendors, click a link, and select who you want to get prices from. Hit save, pricing, and as the prices come in, you enter them next to the associated vendor. And then do the lighting. When you have all those entered, you just hit save, and it's going to show you under vendors your low vendors, and what they won and the price that they won. Save and close. Go back to your worksheet now, which is a sheet that you should view before you finish the estimate. Now you have your quoted items. Who were the low vendors? You have that record, how much they were, and your quotes are now entered up here. So the quoted man hours, you can put man hours next to the quotes, but usually it's going to be taken care of while you're doing the roughing. So your lights is going to be handled in lights. Your gear will be handled in gear. If you had a generator, you might put the hours next to the generator or under the material. Now, just as a secondary measure, some people like to go custom item, new, then you would enter your quotes. It's really whatever you think is easier. So you can enter your quotes here. You can pre-enter everything that you'd ever get quoted. You can hit save, assembly details. Let's call this quotes. Save. Save the master file. Now the next job you do, you can open up custom assembly, load custom assembly, go to quotes, bring this in, and then you can put your quoted items. The only difference is you would only put the low vendor. So you'd only have one number, not all the numbers in here. It doesn't matter which way you find easier, but there's two ways of doing it. So now let's go to the summary sheet. You want to check and make sure your lights are green. If your labor light is not green, more than likely you have your labor allocated more or less than 100%. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's showing right now 10% overhead, 10% profit. If you have a bond, you can add it. If you had an engineering fee, you could add it. You want to round that up, you can add it. So that pretty much finishes all the normal steps. If you were in a different district and needed a different tax rate, you could enter it here, hit override the taxes. So we're going to go to control panel, and now we'll go to the proposal. So you have a proposal master. Now again, this can be completely rewritten to suit you and save as default, but you're going to have an opening statement, general conditions, assumptions, more scope, exclusions, contract if you want it. Then you have this master includes button. So you'll click and unclick the items that you don't want to show up. Seldom would you want all this information to show up in your proposal. But if you left it all as is, it would look like this. And your price and exclusions and your contract if you want it. So that's pretty much all the standard features to get through an estimate. Just have a blessed day and thank you for listening. We'll address more in the next video. So now we've sort of addressed most of the everyday features. Let's dig a little bit deeper into some more advanced things you can do. So you can go to the admin panel and let's go to drop downs. So the drop downs Let's go to lighting and branch circuits. Go to boxes. Now these are the boxes that's shown when you click your drop down in lighting and branch circuits. If you want more boxes, you simply just click the new, type in box, and search through here and select whatever box that you would want. There's lots to choose from. So there's more boxes. Let's get down to the 1500s. So let's say you wanted a 4-inch square box with a plastic 4-inch plastic box with a bracket. Then you just would save and close. It added it to the drop downs. Now, once you save and close, and you go to lighting, new, just give a tag. You go to the assembly, and you want to change the box. So here's your box. There's the default box. Now you can change it to that box we added. And it's going to be 1 per light. So now your box will be the new one, the 4-inch square box, plastic with a bracket. So that's how you would change any of the drop downs for anything in the software. Now defaults are what automatically populates. So let's go to receptacles. So it defaults 1/2-inch EMT with set screw fittings. If you wanted it to be MC, you would change the raceway type to MC. And then every time you used a receptacle, it would populate with MC being the choice. You can change it. Let's enter 1 receptacle. The raceway's MC, as we had selected. So now that is installed with MC. You can still change it on the fly back to EMT, but that's the way you change your default settings. So that gets you to knowing how to add things to the drop downs and how to change your default settings. So that should be helpful. Have a blessed day. So now we've sort of addressed most of the everyday features. Let's dig a little bit deeper into some more advanced things you can do. So you can go to the admin panel and let's go to drop downs. So the drop downs, let's go to lighting and branch circuits. Go to boxes. Now these are the boxes that's shown when you click your drop down in lighting and branch circuits. If you want more boxes, you simply just click the new, type in box, and search through here and select whatever box that you would want. There's lots to choose from. So there's more boxes. Let's get down to the 1500s. So let's say you wanted a 4-inch square box with a plastic 4-inch plastic box with a bracket. Then you just would save and close. It added it to the drop downs. Now, once you save and close, and you go to lighting, new, just give a tag. You go to the assembly, and you want to change the box. So here's your box. There's the default box. Now you can change it to that box we added. And that's going to be 1 per light. So now your box will be the new one, the 4-inch square box plastic with a bracket. So that's how you would change any of the drop downs for anything in the software. Now defaults are what automatically populates. So let's go to receptacles. So it defaults 1/2-inch EMT with set screw fittings. If you wanted it to be MC, you would change the raceway type to MC. And then every time you used a receptacle, it would populate with MC being the choice. You can change it. Let's enter 1 receptacle. The raceway is MC, as we had selected. So now that is installed with MC. You can still change it on the fly back to EMT. But that's the way you change your default settings. So that gets you to knowing how to add things to the drop downs and how to change your default settings. So that should be helpful. Have a blessed day. So the site PVC assembly is one that we haven't addressed, and it does a lot for you, but you do need to take the time to set it up prior to bidding. So let's go to the site PVC, create new. Now this is designed so you'll just enter links, primary length of run. So for your primary raceway, you would enter a length. For your telephone, you'd enter a length. CATV, you'd enter a length. And that's about as simple as it gets. And it's going to take care of everything you need, but you need to set it up prior to using it. So let's go to Site PVC options. Let's just look at the CATV. So you want to, knowing that you might have to change some of this from time to time, but you want to set it up to catch most of your installations. So raceways per run, we normally just use 1 run for the CATV. It's 4-inch schedule 40, 2 90s, PVC 90s. You could change it to rigid here. Warning tape string. Here's your bushings. Your different things that you can set up. Unistrut to stake it out when it turns up outside the ground, and unistrut straps to hold it up. So you can build these attributes to the way that you install your CATV. Then you'll go to primary. Primary raceways, we always run 2 4 inches with rigid 90s. And you can adjust everything on here. We have to have 3 ground rods for the transformer. Number 4 conductor. All these are our attributes. So you would change all your attributes. And that way, all you're entering is your footage. Telephone, the same way. We have it set up for 1 4-inch. This one is rigid 90s. It doesn't have to be. You set it up to the way that you estimate. Signed PVC. This can be changes quite often, but normally we use a 1-inch PVC and we use number 10 wire. Now this one does change more than the rest of them. So when you set all those up, all you're doing is entering quantities, and it's going to do the rest. So I hope that helps. Okay, I want to address pole lights, which is something we use a lot. Let's go to poles. And you have the option to have 3 different pole configurations or layouts. We're just going to address pole number 1. So pole light count, you can put the number of poles. And this really doesn't change a lot. It does change the extra length of conductor. So this extra length of conductor times number of poles will be what you end up with in the 90s. 90s per pole. So that's going to also change. So let's just say you have 4 poles, 1-inch raceway, number 10. The raceway length, this will be the total length of the run. Just say it's 100 foot. Extra, change this back to 100. The extra length of conductor, this is going up the pole. So that's just going up the pole. So let's say the poles are 25, 27 foot. We'll just comfortably say 30 foot of extra conductor. We won't need a male adapter. Let's say, for example, to drill the poles. Let's just put a number. And we know there's 4 poles, so we'll match that. Trenching cost, let's say we'll charge $8 a foot. The length will be 100. Equipment cost, say $250 for a trencher, $50 for fuel. Wire nuts per pole, let's just say 3. Choose the wire nut. 90s per pole, we'll say coming in and going out. We'll use rigid 90s. We'll include warning tape. Plastic bushing counts, these will be totals. So if you're going to use them, use that. Female adapters, so we'll need 8 of those. This will be totals. Pole bases, if we want to include that, let's just say $1,500 per pole bases. There's 4 of them. Labor for trenching, we're not going to charge labor since we're charging $8 a foot. So that won't include, let's just say, number of poles, cubic yards, cost per yard. So if you're figuring the concrete, you can do that, and delivery fee. Open up an online calculator here, and it will show you how many cubic yards you need to make that pour. Stub up length, let's just say this is the total stub up length. So if you want 5 foot at each pole, let's say 10 foot at each pole, 5 going up and 5 going out, that's 5 times 4, that's 20, so that would be 20 foot total. If you want rigid stub up, you click here. We're just going to keep it PVC. So there's our ground rod clamps, 15 foot of conductor, number 6 conductor, and type of ground rods. So we'll just say save, fixture detail, and that's going to take care of your poles. So I hope that helps. Oh yeah, I forgot to put raceways per run. In this case, we'll just call it 1. Save, and there's your details with your raceways and conductors and grounding conductors, wire nuts, everything that you need. So that should finish your pole lights and your sight PVC. So this can do a whole lot in this one assembly. So I think you'll use it once you learn it. It does take a little bit getting used to and learning it all, but it's a great assembly to take advantage of. Okay, so we've addressed every button on here besides metal clad and standard conduit and wire. I don't personally use these two, but they're good if you like them. So let me show you how to use them. Go to takeoff. When you're on your takeoff, just go to conduit and wire. It's going to make you choose a tag. So we're going to go to standard first. Call this branch lighting. So we're going to enter a tag. Now you'll go to edit and you'll select from these wire configurations the choice that you need. Now you can build these choices to be as deep as you want to. Actually, we have a couple of 200 amp and 100 amp feeder. You can build these and they are pretty handy. So we're going to go back and choose this hot neutral and ground, save and close. And now when we start measuring, it's going to auto enter these runs. So you can go to MC, again, add a tag, edit the tag, choose the MC that you want, and just start measuring. If I'm measuring with MC cable, I generally like to, let me go back here real quick. You can either go at a zigzag so you're creating extra because you won't install MC cable as direct as you will conduit. Now another thing you can do is you can add 10% to your total number if you were to go straight. So that's another way you can do it. You can also use the distance apart. And for example, if this MC was 4 foot in the air and you were having to drop down 4 foot, you might add 8 foot per fixture on the estimate to account for the vertical drop. So in reality, it would look like this, and then going down to a fixture, going back up to the fixture, and going down to the fixture, and then going back up to the fixture. So in reality, we would count this and this and this and this and this by adding distance apart on the estimating side. So once you measure everything, you can go save and close. Metal clad, that's what we entered. Standard conduit and wire, that's what we entered right there. So it does save a step, and you might like that better. Also, you can change from here your different straps, different wire, anything that you would basically want. You can overwrite your 90s if you have large enough to have 90s. So it's pretty handy to use. So have a blessed day. I think you'll like it. So let's talk about updating prices. Let's just open up an assembly. Let's add a few more things in it. Your prices are going to be right here. So this is updated today, 3/6/25. That is the day I'm recording this. So you can see that your prices are up to date. This will let you know where you are. This is fixture installation, so it doesn't have a price. To update your prices, you can go to real-time pricing. It's going to load your material. You can select all and then update. That is the way you do it. Now, occasionally, or maybe more than occasionally, a lot of times, if you have updated your prices on the sheet and you go and bring in something from the database, $12, $10, and $8, the price update might not show, but these prices will be correct. So 19, 29, and 54. So let's just double check. So this is 19 cents, so that's correct. I could change this to so those are the correct 19, 29, 54, and they show the price update doing it that way. But sometimes when you bring it in another way, it may not show it. So you can either run the real-time pricing again on that page and it will update it, or you can just check it and know that it's updated. So these are the correct, but it doesn't show a price. If you wanted to be real comfortable, you could just run the THN update again, and then it'll pop your dates in. Not really sure why it does that. Probably needs looking at, but it does update the prices. It just doesn't show the price update sometimes when you bring it in from the catalog. Now, if it's coming in through an assembly, it will show the correct price updates. So now we have it updated. You can also use Net Pricer, and that will update your prices as well. So those are two ways you can update your prices. If you want to do it yourself, you can go to Admin, Master Files, Items. Find your wire. You can open it up and just change your price. Go to next record, change your price. Next record, change your price. So it's pretty easy to manage yourself if you wanted to. But for $33 a month with the real-time pricing, it's probably not worth your time. Now, while I'm on here, you see this custom ID. So let's go back. We've started this just for us. 12W means 12 wire. 10W means 10 wire. 8W means 8 wire. And I'm pretty sure 12C means 12 conduit. But you can build these custom IDs. And anytime you're on a sheet of paper, you can just go to custom ID, and it'll bring in the product without having to look it up. I'm thinking that C might bring in conduit. Yep. So that's 1/2 inch conduit, 1/2 inch wire. You can make that be quick and easy if you just want to manually bring in some products. I think that should be most of what you want to know. We can keep on going, take a break, learn everything before this, and I'll see you in the next video.